I knew this movie was going to be fucking fantastic from the start.
Looks like Christmas came a little early this year.
I would recommend this. I was hesitant to put this on. When we kind of made the on-the-fly decision to watch this, my wife was super disappointed in us. And she said, "What? No."
My wife asked me, why aren't you watching The Holiday with Jack Black?
Because we're watching Jack Frost with Jack Frost.
Who's out there? Well, it ain't fucking Frosty.
Ho, 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 all you hooligans, and cheers to you. I just brought this hot chocolate out of nowhere, and the corn dog himself is showing me a hottie toddy, I'm assuming that is. But it might just be straight whiskey, I don't know. Hey, welcome back. It's Just Play It. It's the Christmas episode, so jolly good times over here. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Captain Pop. I am Mr. Santa at the movies. I am an elf building a toy, and that toy is a podcast. And I can't make that podcast without my best friend, my best amigo, my elf in arms, my brother in claws. It is the corn dog himself, Christmas corn, Mr. Nicholas St. Nick Justice over there, sipping a hot toddy. Welcome in.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, thanks for the intro. I'm Nick. I'm the chief corn dog around here. I'm the oh, sweet.
Oh, that hot chocolate is awful. Honey! No, I'm just kidding. It's delicious.
Oh, good. I was going to say, I haven't had hot chocolate in a minute. And
what?
I don't know why it's not something. I talk about this, or not I talk about this. I think about this all the time. That's one of those things as a kid where you say to yourself, when I grow up, I'm going to have hot chocolate all the time. And then I don't just have that much hot chocolate. So I need to go ahead and make a concerted effort to have more chocolate. But yes, sir, I'm ready to have a holly jolly podcast with you today as we review our Christmas movie this week. I'm excited for this one. It's not what the listeners might think would be the Christmas movie we chose, but damn it, it's the Christmas movie we deserve.
It is. And we actually brought this up last year because we watched the Michael Keaton Jack Frost from 1998. And you texted me and said, "Hey, just to be clear, we're watching Jack Frost in parentheses 1998 that has Michael Keaton in it, not this B movie horror looking goofy ass Jack Frost from in parentheses 1997, correct?" And I said, "Yes." And I think we mentioned it on the podcast that we should watch this next season or maybe in between, like Thanksgiving. But you know what? We just called an audible. We didn't have a Christmas movie nailed down until literally the last time we did this. So we just said, let's go for it. Let's watch that shitty looking Jack Frost movie from 1997. Well,
there's so many Christmas movies, James, and it's so hard for us right on this podcast. We don't want to do what everyone else is doing. We don't want to talk about the 30 Christmas movies that everybody else already knows and loves and has an opinion on. We want to bring our listeners a new perspective on a movie they may not have heard of. And I think 1997's Jack Frost is going to fit that bill.
It absolutely will. And if you're a fan of this podcast, this movie is literally right up our alley. So we really owed it to ourselves to do this.
It was a treat yourself moment for sure.
It was. And we're going to indulge in a lot of that. And when we get into this movie, talk about it and share the ridiculous moments in this movie, talk about how this movie got made and some fun surprises along the way. But yeah, this is our Christmas movie of the year. It's our last movie review of the year. Speaking of crazy, where did the time go by? It felt like just yesterday I was researching Daredevil. And then all of a sudden we're here.
It feels like just yesterday I was Googling how to start a podcast. And here we are.
Tell me about it. Holy smokes. So yeah, end of the year. That means our next episodes we have coming out is the end of the year wrap party, which will be split into actually two parts. So we're going to have a part one where we're going to do some quizzes and we're going to go over some nominations of the best of the year. And part two is going to wrap it all together. We're going to have some fan polls. So we might have best soundtrack, from a movie. We might have sexiest man alive. We might have smoke show babe of the year. We might throw on the best yeet over there. We might pass that off to you fans. We might do the best poster of our bad Photoshop that we do weekly when we're trying to promote our episodes. So look out for that. If you're hearing this episode, check out our socials. Most of the polls are going to be on Instagram, and we're going to reveal all of that in part 2. So it's going to be a good time. So make sure you're listening. Make sure you're following us at Just Play It Podcast on Instagram. We're on YouTube at Just Play It Podcast as well. And we are on X at Just Play It Pod. So get ready for a whole big shebang to cap off this year.
X going to give it to you, dude. And we're going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you long and hard in a 2-part weekly wrap. And if you're an OG listener,
like a carrot,
you'll know that we did last year a 3-hour wrap for this podcast. We decided
we recorded
make it easy on you.
For 5.5 hours, and it was on a Wednesday. We record on Wednesdays, so Nick looked at me at like hour 4 and said, "Next time we got to fucking carve out Saturday for this because this is getting out of hand." So that's why we're splitting into 2 parts
on a Wednesday.
And I woke up and I texted you the next morning and I said, "What the hell happened last night?" And you just responded with one word: content. And that's what we're giving you every other week or so, unless it's October. Then we're every freaking week, but we're coming at you most weeks out of the year. So get ready for that. But we got some business to take care of. It's time for some ho, ho, ho Christmas, happy Honda days. Unless you just celebrate Toyotathon in your house, whatever you do. We got to talk about Jack Frost. But before we get to that, Nick, we have our last pop trivia of the year. It's time to hit up that Cinematrix quiz.
Ho, ho, ho!
I have a bone to pick because last week, we suffered our first loss in 14, 15 weeks?
We went on a 14-week streak. Yeah, Jim Henson fucked us last week. So
like a puppet.
Or last time.
So it was really tough.
No.
And I would really like to not end this year on a loss. So I'm very motivated to win this one, my friend. So why don't you describe the game? I'll go ahead and get it pulled up and we'll get this thing started.
Absolutely. Pop trivia time. Transition us in. We invite everybody to play along. If you're a new listener or just need a reminder, the Cinematrix quiz, it's a 3x3 grid quiz. We get 3 actors on the left side. We get 3 categories up top. We have 9 squares. We only have 9 guesses, and we have to match those categories to those actors with the movie. But not only that, it should be a very obscure movie so that we get low percentage points of players that guess that movie for the day. So there's 2 parts to this W column for us. We're always trying to get this clean sweep of 9 squares. But on top of that, we want to be the top percentage of rarest guess movies of the day. Our record is top 1. Don't think you can go above that, but we're always shooting for it. Nick, who do we have for our actors?
For our actors this week, James, we have Brad Pitt, Jennifer Lawrence, and Lakeith Stanfield.
And our categories include release date 2010 to 2019, title contains an M, and Oscar nominee Best Picture. Nick, I ask you this every time. How corny confident do you feel?
I actually feel pretty good about this one. How do you feel?
That's good. I'm a little shaky because Oscar nominee Best Picture is always very specific. However, Lakeith Stanfield, don't know him by name. Can you click on that word name so I can see him by face? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know him by name?
No.
Did you click on the face?
Well, I clicked on the face before I shared my screen. I clicked on the face and just went, yep, check. I know exactly who this guy is. I'm good.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Excellent. All right. Well, hey, let's start up top left. Why don't we hit up Brad Pitt and release date 2010 to 2019?
Yeah.
I have a couple answers that are coming to mind.
A ton.
Deadpool 2.
I was just going to say the X-Force, Deadpool 2, The Vanisher. Yeah. I think that's a great call.
That's a movie that is right up this podcast alley, so I think we should just hit that up.
I think we go with Deadpool 2 here, and that's 10%. Wow.
I think people knew to go for that because it's so memorable. It's so memorable.
Yeah. Title contains an M.
Yeah, talk about a large pool of answers to pick from.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Let me give you one.
Start here.
Let me give you one from, I think, the early 2010s here. He played a character that started with an M, Metro Man, in Megamind.
Oh. That'd be a big Megamind, big brain answer, I think. I probably wouldn't even
Big brain,
test
nice.
that. You're welcome.
Yeah, he was Metro Man. Was a voice actor. Megamind, highly, highly underrated animated film. Honestly, highly underrated.
Very popular with the meme culture, though. So let's go with Megamind. Metro
Man. He gets 2%.
Yep, 2%, baby.
And now we get our Oscar nominee for Best Picture. So, 12 Years a Slave, I think is a very obvious answer.
Actually, I didn't even know he was in that. I've never seen that.
He was in it. He had a small part. He produced it as well. I believe he was the producer of that film.
Okay. Probably Moneyball.
I was going to go Moneyball.
Which is probably like the most obvious M answer.
I mean, I'm trying to think because I know he was in, I think The Departed got a Best Picture nom.
He wasn't in that.
Did he just produce? I thought he had a small part. He produced.
No.
I know he produced.
Did he?
So that's an interesting... He produced. I think that was one of his...
Well, it says actor.
Yeah,
it says actor. Sometimes it says actor/director.
I think that was his production debut. I think it was his debut as a producer, like one of his first.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
But I'll go Moneyball. I think Moneyball is the best answer here.
That was Best Picture, right?
Yeah. It was nominated.
Okay.
It didn't win, but yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah. Nominated. Oh, yep. 7%. We'll take 7%.
That. I'm trying to think of what else would have got it. Like, did like Interview with a Vampire get a nom or something? Like
Fight Club, maybe.
Oh,
might be the most popular.
There's a lot of. There's a Troy.
He's in a lot, so that's kind of helpful when there's like so many. When there's so many answers, it's you have a more diverse crowd, so you can kind of split up the percentages.
Yeah. All right, let's head over to Jennifer Lawrence. So most of my 2010s Jennifer Lawrence is going to be the X-Men franchise. She played Mystique.
I was gonna bring that up for M in the title as well.
Yeah, X-Men Apocalypse, X-Men First Class, X-Men Dark Phoenix. There was another one in there.
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past. Yeah, so all those four, she's good for that. I know Oscar nom. I don't have anything other than Silver Linings Playbook, and I think that's going to be obviously the most popular one, but that's the best I got. I don't think
that's what I was going to say.
I loved Passengers with Chris Pratt. I don't think it got a nom.
I don't think that would be nom worthy. I was going to say Silver Linings Playbook for Best Picture nominee.
I'm not in the Best Picture game. You know me. I'm more in the niche,
action,
comedy, stupid, ridiculous kind of movie.
Look at our top line of answers. That should tell you everything.
I don't live in the world of Shape of Water. You know what I mean? That's not how I operate. So
Nick hates Shape of Water. I can't wait till we land on that by chance.
She fucks a fish man. She fucks a fish man. What do you want me to do?
Do you want to just do Silver Linings Playbook for Best Picture?
Yeah, let's just see what we're dealing with here. Silver Linings Playbook, it's going to be 57%. Yeah. We expected it. So let's win out here. We can go.
You can still go top percentage of the day with some rare answers.
We can go X-Men Dark Phoenix for the M, and we can go any X-Men, and then also Passengers with Chris Pratt. I know is in that 2010 to 2019.
I did not see Dark Phoenix. Was she in that? Was Mystique in it? Because I know she kind of bounced after Days of Future Past or whatever, or went rogue.
Yeah, she definitely was in Dark Phoenix.
I kind of like Apocalypse.
Well, I guess that's just called Dark Phoenix. So
that's disqualified. So let's
should not choose that.
Let's go, or should we do Apocalypse for?
We're doing Apocalypse. 6%
M in the title.
An M. Dealer's choice, buddy.
Oh yeah, totally like sleeping on Hunger Games about that, all that too. But that's not.
But that's
going
to be the most. Yeah, that I just know is going to be the.
Yeah, let's just do an X-Men or Passengers. Was Passengers forgettable? Because I remember it, and so do you, obviously.
I saw it and really like it, but I'm also a big Chris Pratt guy.
That was part of the Prattening back in the mid 2010s.
Do you want to do this for Pratt? Do you want to do this for
the Pratt,
Andy?
For our Pratt bro.
Let's do it.
Andy Dwyer.
Andy Dwyer.
9.
And you know what? It gets us to 9%. You know what? We take single digits.
Go.
All right, Lakeith Stanfield. I'm just going to start you off with movies I know he was in. He was in Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. He was in Knives Out. He was in Straight Outta Compton. And he was in Selma. Those are the 4 that I know he's in.
Oh, you're forgetting the most obvious one. Get Out.
Oh, Get Out. Yeah. So I think Get Out and Selma are his two Oscar noms.
And you said two movies that had an M in it, so
Uncut Gems and
Gems might be. Was that Best Picture nominee?
No. I remember
that should be our M one.
Yeah, because I don't think Sandler's ever had a Best Picture, and that was like his best chance, and he never even got the nom. As an Adam Sandler guy,
did he get nominated for actor? At least
I think he's been nominated for actor and screenplay and a few other things, but I don't think he's ever got Best Picture nominee. And everybody thought this would be it, and it just wasn't it.
Was Get Out nominated?
I'd be surprised if it wasn't, but I know Selma was. Obviously,
he was also in
Straight
this
Outta
movie.
Compton was not a Best Picture nom.
It wasn't? Thought it could have been.
Probably should have been. I think it was a little too violent for the Academy.
He was also in this movie that had to do with like telemarketing. It was like "Thank you for calling" or something.
Oh,
you remember that one?
No, I don't. I remember the title. I never saw it. Any of
he like puts on a white voice, and it's.
I just saw an Instagram post about that.
Yeah.
Where he was talking to the old guy. Yeah, he's like, I know how to talk. He's like, no, like this. And the old black guy's like, hi, this is Jim Johnson calling for you.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. No, I've never seen the movie. I didn't know he was in it.
I haven't seen it either. I just know he's in it.
Was that 2010 to 2019?
I don't know. So I think we have a pretty good roster of what we laid out prior. So let's start laying out these answers.
Do you want to go Selma?
Let's go Selma.
Picture?
Might be high, but let's do it.
Holy 6%.
Oh.
Selma's a very good movie.
Maybe it's Get Out.
As someone who doesn't like the very serious dramatics, Selma's a great one. Title containing an M. Are you good with Uncut Gems?
Yes, I would love that answer. Let's do Uncut Gems for title contains an M.
14%.
Okay, all right. We're kind of going crazy.
Straight Outta Compton was pre-2020, right?
Who was he in Straight Outta Compton?
He played Snoop. It was a very small role, but I remember. I remember the memes that came out from it.
Yeah, because there was
pictures that came out from it.
There was the act, because they had the Tupac and then the Snoop. But I was like, was he like a random friend, like from the childhood of the gang?
No, he was Snoop Dogg in Straight Outta Compton.
Okay, that's so. Yes, dude, man, good memory you have. Yeah, let's do that because it's a hell of a good movie.
That was pre-2020, right?
Yeah, that was like 2018, 2017. Okay. I think it was 2015. It was 2015.
Oh, hell yeah. Straight Outta Compton, 2%.
Oh my God, let's go. Top three of the day.
That's how we come back off that loss, dude.
Chug this hot chocolate. I'm gonna chug this hot chocolate. I'm so pumped.
Careful, your throat can't handle it, corn. Okay.
Okay, well let's go over the most popular answers, starting out with Brad Pitt. Release date 2010 to 2019 was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Title contains an M was Thelma and Louise. And Oscar nominated Best Picture was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That didn't even cross my mind, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Jennifer Lawrence, 2010 to 2019, we have Joy. I'm not super familiar with the movie. Title containing an M, we have The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. And then for Oscar nom, as we put in Silver Linings Playbook.
And most popular for Lakeith Stanfield. For release date 2010 to 2019, we have the movie Sorry to Bother You. That's the movie I was talking about with Telemarketer. It's not Thanks for Calling. For title contains an M for Lakeith Stanfield, we have Judas and the Black Messiah. And most popular for Oscar-nominated Best Picture was Get Out.
Good call there.
Nick, let's go over our rarest answers. And I want you to hit me first with Brad Pitt.
For Brad Pitt, this first one's going to piss me off because for 2010 to 2019, we have Once Upon a Deadpool, what looks like a Deadpool Christmas special.
For
title containing an M,
it's got Fred Savage.
We have No Man's Land. Oh, yeah. And for Oscar nomination for Best Picture, we have The Tree of Life.
And Tasha?
Love and Tasha. And then we have The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. It says Part 1, but it wasn't Part 1 the first.
Wasn't that the most popular?
The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1.
Why does that look
this
different?
One says The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. The Mockingjay lives making. Oh, it's the making of documentary.
That's fucking stupid. Okay.
That's fucking horseshit, dude.
For release date 2010 to 2019, we have Love and Tasha. For title contains an M, this is going to be the one that fucking pisses us off. It's the making of the Mockingjay Part 1. It's a documentary. So that is some biggity bullshit.
Bit babbity bullshit, dude.
They just type in stuff and they're like, oh, okay. Fuck them. And for Oscar nominated Best Picture, we have Don't Look Up.
I'm surprised that was so low because I like Don't Look Up. And for Lakeith Stanfield, for our most rare answers from 2010 to 2019, we have War Machine. For title containing an M, we have Come Sunday. And for Oscar nominated Best Picture, we have our selection in Selma.
I feel like we never get the rarest answers.
We got it.
Our answers are never on the rarest answers list. So good for us. Good for us.
It was. Good for us.
Finally did it. Hell
Happy
yeah.
for us.
I'm happy for us. That's the way we end the year, on a W. Screw you, Jim Henson. All right. Let's talk about the movie we watched and are about to review for this week, which was Jack Frost from 1997. This movie is going to go ahead and be directed by Michael Cooney, who is a Brit. And it's going to go ahead and star Scott McDonald, Christopher Allport, and Stephen Mendel. Nick, what the hell did you find out about the dollar signs? What do we got for budget? What do we got for box office? I have some loose research answers for you if you didn't find anything on this.
I found nothing. I found absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I couldn't find jack shit. I couldn't find Jack Frost shit on this movie as far as information about what it cost and how much money this movie made, if any.
What did you know about this movie before we watched it?
Nothing. So the only thing I know about this movie is when I used to walk into Blockbuster. I think we've discussed this on this podcast. My dad had you pay $12 a month and you get to walk in at any time and rent 2 and return 2. And as kids, we'd walk in and return the 2. And then my dad would rent 1 and then we'd get to run around the store and pick a movie to rent.
I would expect nothing less from Jerry.
I remember this cover.
This
movie cover so vividly.
The cover of this movie is Jack Frost, and it looks nothing like the Jack Frost that appears in this movie. And I distinctly remember seeing this in Blockbuster. It's not like
vividly.
I think I vividly remember seeing it. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is what the cover of the movie looks like. And then this is what Jack Frost actually looks like in this movie. Kind of round, kind of cute, actually. Just a little, just like a generic snowman. And the DVD, the VHS cover is a crazy rendering of a demonic snowman. They look nothing alike. I have some information on this cover and some monies if you need some help.
Hit me.
So this movie doesn't have a box office. Never had a theatrical release. It is a straight-to-video B-movie horror blockbuster legend, I will say. So on this this interview I found with a director from this website called justinbeam.com, and it's literally just titled Interview with Michael Cooney. When they're talking about how it went straight to video. So this got funded by an initial production company. They went bankrupt, and then it kind of got sold around, fire sales. And this low budget video distributor called Apix picked it up for video distribution. And so the interviewer says, "Hey, how did the deal with Apix go? How did that unfold? What did you arrive at? What was it like working with them?" And Cooney, the director, says, "I don't know. I think it was a fire sale after the bank took it over." And the interviewer says, "If I remember correctly, the film got a pretty big video release. What kind of treatment did Apix give the film?" Lenticular covers were great. So lenticular covers are, I describe them as holograms. You know, when you look at them at a certain size, it's kind of like a plastic shiny. So it switches images. So the lenticular cover was the regular Jack Frost that appears in this movie. And then it was that crazy one that we distinctly remember seeing in video.
Oh.
He says it was a great release because it had that fantastic lenticular video box. I credit so many people being able to see this movie because of the box. This was at the height of direct-to-video movies, and it was the perfect time. It had the snowman that followed you around when you walked around. Just fantastic. So, but Mandela effect. I don't know if I remember seeing a stagnant, creepy Jack Frost or if it was that lenticular cover.
I don't think Blockbuster paid for millions of these lenticular covers to be put in their store. They just took the static, like, just give me the static printout, right? Because remember, it would just be a case with like a printed out paper on like a HP inkjet that just kind of wrapped around. It wasn't the real movie cover. So when you see it at Blockbuster, it's just a static. They're not paying to put a lenticular cover into every single Blockbuster 10 times over.
Yeah, maybe that was just for purchasing, and Blockbuster just got the generic one.
Absolutely.
But the video box definitely intrigued a lot of people. I definitely remember seeing that as a kid, and it attracted me because I was like, what is this? But then it repulsed me because it looks scary. So that's why it sticks with you. As far as the video box cover and going straight to video, let's get into the money stuff here. So there's this production company called Prism. So they're the ones that are going to go ahead and get this movie funded.
Question. Question. This Apix, this Prism, who are these people? Who are these people who are poaching B scripts and then producing them and then bankrupting, and then who's Apix going, I'm going to take this shitty movie and distribute it? Like, who, like, what is this business
is what
model?
It's high risk, low reward.
Yikes. Okay, keep going. Sorry. I had to ask.
So Michael Cooney is going to be a 22-year-old little lad, and he's going to get a work visa to go to Hollywood. So Terminator 2 Judgment Day comes out, and that's going to go ahead and inspire Michael Cooney to give the snowman its abilities. Remember the bad cop that could just liquid through door cracks and whatnot? So his vision for this was that it was going to be a multi-million-dollar budget, and it was going to, he's going to walk into Hollywood and be like, "Hey, I want to be a director and a screenwriter, please." And it was just going to work like that. So he wanted to make a script about a serial killer that could morph into elements, and he shops his script around. Apparently, it almost got a $30 million budget, and friend of the show, Rennie Harland, was going to direct it. You might remember he directed Cutthroat Island. I think Die Hard 2. And then he hated it and said no. So didn't happen. Yeah. And there's a lot of scarce information out there on this movie. So that a lot of articles said that. So I'm like, all right, I guess that's true. So he calls it quits, goes back to Britain. And then he said, someone called us up a year later asking if we would do it for under $1 million. Now, this is going to be Prism Entertainment. And he said, lying through our teeth, we're like, yeah, no, totally. We could do it for under $1 million. And then his producer friend said he should direct it to keep the costs low. So Prism Entertainment is funding this movie. Anywhere from 500,000 to 800,000. All these loose numbers are thrown around online. Cooney is about 26 when they start shooting. So they filmed this in 93, 94. And Prism Entertainment, aforementioned, goes bankrupt. So it's a blessing and a curse. So the rights went to the bank.
Could you imagine being a banker as you come home to your wife? Like, how was your day? It's like, I acquired the rights to a shitty movie. I don't know how my day was. It could be good, could be bad.
It wasn't a shitty movie yet because the bank's only requirements was that they finish the movie so that they can do something with it. So Michael Cooney kind of has free reign and says, hey, no studio looking over my shoulder saying, do this, don't do this. I kind of can do whatever I want. So the bank is like, all right, well, this 26-year-old we have the rights to Jack Frost whenever this comes out. So he finishes it and they don't like it. So it's not going to get a theatrical release. It was probably ready to come out in 96, but then it kind of ends up coming out in 1997 because during the bankruptcy, it sold to a bank, and then it was acquired by Apex. I think they bought it for like $50,000. So when you said, what kind of business model is this? They bought this $500,000 for 10%, and they're like, this is our thing. And if you look up this company, you'll see they have distributed a bunch of movies like this.
This is their thing.
All those like kind of crappy, just cut rate B movies. Cooney says we spent all of our money at this one company that was supposed to make all of these Jack Frosts for us, but then they just made one snowman. They made one snowman. $50,000, Nick. $50,000. And they got one snowman. The one snowman they got, they spent $50,000 on it, and that's what it looks like. And they have one of them.
It's the worst snowman I've ever seen.
That's the worst investment I've ever seen. Like if you came to us and said, hey, I will give you $5,000 to build a snowman, we could literally build the same exact Jack Frost,
absolutely
quality snowman that comes
adjusted
that
for
appears
inflation.
In this movie.
1995, I probably could have done it for $500.
Yeah, but 50,000 apparently is what they've spent on this Jack Frost. So that pisses them off. So it kind of makes you appreciate folks like the Kyoto brothers from a movie we watched a couple weeks ago, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That was also a very low budget movie, but they were fortunate to be in the special effects department, and they made some very convincing, unique, distinct killer clowns from outer space. Like you look at those clowns, you're like, that's the clown from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. You look at the snowman from this fucking movie, you're like, what is that? My niece can draw that in about 5 seconds.
Your niece could do better than that.
Yeah, so they get 3 balls of snow, and he said, we had no money to make any more, and we looked at this thing and thought, that's just not scary. So this is before they had actors, and quite early on, we realized we were going to have to embrace it. So we put about all that money into this company and literally had 3 balls of foam. So we had to do some rethinking. So actually, that a lot of money went to that. A quarter of the budget went to actors because Cooney insisted on having SAG actors. And then that fucking $50,000 snowman that is not scary, that's what swayed the steering of the entire tone of this movie. So it was supposed to be pretty horrific and vicious, but then they looked at this Temu ass snowman they got and said, now we have to go funny because like this is not convincingly scary.
Have to.
So they had to embrace the silly side and go through rewrites. So originally it was supposed to be actually scary, but fortunately for all the actors involved, everybody understood the assignment and said, all right, let's kind of get a little campy and get a little fun with this.
Yeah.
So that's how this movie came to be. And Nick, I just want to point out this is one of 3 directing jobs from Cooney.
What else we got?
Well, we have Jack Frost, and we have Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. And
what?
I guess
it did open up for a sequel at the end. Spoiler.
There's a sequel.
Spoiler.
There's a sequel. And I guess 27 episodes of something called Center Stage. I think it's like a interview series. But I want to just bring up, he did write, I think his most famous thing he wrote, he does a lot more writing actually. Most famous thing he wrote was this movie called Identity. And I swear I've seen this on TV one time. It's got John Cusack, Ray Liotta,
yes.
Amanda Peet, Alfred Molina, John C. McGlinchey. or John C. McGinley. John C. McGinley?
Dr. Cox.
Dr. Cox. Yeah, Dr. Cox.
Dr. Cox. Yeah.
And I swear I've seen this on TV. And guess who that was directed by?
Who?
James Mangold.
It all
Who directed
comes
Dial
full
of Destiny.
circle. It all comes full circle. The more movies we watch, the bigger the web we weave gets.
I was just about to say the Just Play It web weaving is insane. It's crazy. All right. Well, that's all I have for the backstory of this movie. Let's go ahead and get into this, Nick. Why don't you read me that log line of Jack Frost 97?
If you weren't pulled in from everything James just said, let me pull you in with this log line. After an accident that left murderer Jack Frost dead in genetic material, the vengeful killer returns as a murderous snowman to exact his revenge on the man who sent him to be executed. What else do you need to know? I'll tell you everything you need to know, and we're going to tell you everything that you need to know about this movie right here, right now. Merry Christmas, sons of bitches. It is Plot Talk.
Yeah, Plot Talk.
Plot Talk.
So we open up this movie. We have some opening credits. We have this voice of a man and a little girl, although the little girl's voice was clearly done by like a 50-year-old man, so it's really weird. But he's telling
I think it was actually
scary...
a girl. I thought I looked that up.
Oh, if it was, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I thought it was a guy too doing like a.
Oh, are you sure about that, Mr. Man? Like it's
very South Parky. Yeah, very South Parky.
It's weird, but they're telling the story about Jack Frost, and so that's very expository. First 5 minutes of it's a long opening credit scene, but it really sets us up into the movie where we have Jack Frost, this is our serial killer's name, and he is to be executed. He is a murderer. He's killed a bunch of people. He's insane. They say maybe he didn't get enough hugs. He liked killing
Michael
people.
Cooney was also the narrator in the beginning, by the way.
That checks out. Cutting costs, you know. He's in this police transfer vehicle because he's on his way to getting executed. So he's in this large armored truck. He's in the back, and he's just this creepy, wide-eyed, got a scar on his chin, weirdo. And they're driving in a terrible snowstorm because that's the best time to drive for horror movies. And coming the other way in oncoming traffic is this genetic research materials truck, and they crash. I knew this movie was going to be fucking fantastic from the start. When the genetic materials truck comes this way, the paddy wagon's coming this way, the genetic truck driver goes, "Oh no!" and the paddy wagon drivers go, "Oh no!" and we zoom in on Jack Frost's face, and he just goes, "Oh yeah, oh yeah," and then boom. Cameras spinning, people are spinning.
Dude, it's just rotisserie shots, people's faces just spinning in the screen. It's cutting to different faces. It's chaotic. When the dust settles, Jack he escapes the paddy wagon, and of course, this genetics research truck is gonna spew out some mystery chemicals, and it's gonna spray all over Jack, and he's gonna just straight up melt into the snow. And he is the snow now. We don't see it, but obviously we know he's going to be.
We know what we signed up for, right? Like he's now become the snow. He is a murderous snowman. So he just melts into the snow.
And now we're going to meet Sam. He's the main protagonist character that we're going to follow. So Sam, we do get this. He's very nervous about Jack being put to rest. And his wife says, "It's all good. He's dead now. It's midnight." We get a flashback of him first meeting Jack Frost because he's taking a leak on the side of a highway. He's asked for his license, and then all of a sudden it just escalates to Jack Frost looking like an insane person, like he just got out of Arkham Asylum in a prison jumpsuit, getting hauled out of court. And he looks at Sam and says, "Next time you see my face, it's going to tear your world apart." It's like, whoa, you just asked for your license on the side of the road. Why did we have to get here?
Insane.
Sam, his home life, he has a kid that makes him some prison food for his dad. Speaking of prison, apparently this is oatmeal. Apparently this is going to be very important to the story. There's this disgusting looking dog slop.
Is it oatmeal? He just says oats. And I don't know the difference between oats and oatmeal.
Yeah, we'll just call it oats. I would call it crap because it looked awful.
I'd call it a fucking joke.
So he makes some disgusting oats for his dad, just puts it in a plastic bag like a savage, not even like a Tupperware. And then he asks if he can build a snowman for the competition today. And Nick, you and I had the same exact note. We said, just like the father-son snowman competition in 1998's Jack Frost. There's a lot of similarities with 98 Jack Frost, Michael Keaton, and this Jack Frost. Starts out with a car accident.
Might be a conspiracy. I don't know.
Spirit comes back as a snowman. There's a snowman building competition. It might take place in the same city or state. We don't know. It does take place in Snowminton. I don't know if you caught that.
Nice and creative by Cooney.
I think it said the snowman or snow capital of the Midwest. So we're like, okay, some generic place. We cut to that snowman building, not the contest itself, but they're prepping for the contest. There's all these snowmen that are covered in tarps. And we're going to meet all the town kooks here. So we have Jake, who is kind of the uptight guy about town, who is very serious about the snowman building competition.
Too serious.
He's very mean to his wife and to his kids. His wife is Sally. His son is Billy. He's a bully. He's going to bully Sam's kid later. His daughter is Jill. I caught this facial recognition right away. So this is Shannon Elizabeth. And I know her from Scary Movie and the American Pie franchise. So I think this is probably the most famous actor from this movie.
Absolutely. Hands down.
We have Paul. He owns the store. Tommy, he's a little boy for Jill to crush on later. And the deputies. So we meet all those guys. And we're going to fast forward to the police station. So those goddamn oats. Sam goes to throw the oats away in the trash like a responsible human being. And we get this ghostly voiceover from his dad or from his kid. And he says, "But Daddy, I made those oats special for you."
"But Daddy, I made those oats special for you."
Like, was he imagining his kid saying that in his head?
I don't know. It was weird. It was like, that was the first time I clocked that maybe these oats are special in some sort of way, but I don't know how. I don't know how oats are in any way, shape, or form going to integrate into this movie. Oh, how wrong I was, James.
You just wait. You just wait. So he gets the oats out of the trash and puts it back in his cop car. So he saves the oats, walks into the station, and the secretary says, "There's been a murder." Now, who's been murdered here, Nick?
So we have Mr. Harper. Now, there hasn't been a murder in Snowminton in years. So this is a big thing. So they go to Mr. Harper. He's in this rocking chair sitting out in the snow, frozen to death with his head snapped back. And I'm thinking, did he just die in the snow? I mean, we know Jack Frost we know Jack Frost did this, but Sam, our lead character, our main sheriff, he's still freaking out he has major PTSD from Jack Frost saying, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to get you." So any dead body he sees, he's really not an effective police officer at this point. He's really just a man who needs therapy. He needs therapy. He really needs therapy. Yeah.
Did you notice his chair was rocking?
Where'd you get Doc Peters? Take your foot off the chair.
And then it stops rocking. I was like, that's funny. Yeah, and then like some forensics guy comes by and says, "Oh, it looks like his neck was snapped with an immense force, but there's no bruises, so something soft must have absorbed the blow." And he doesn't say pillow or pad. He just goes straight to mitten. It's like, okay, we're kind of being a little bit too on the nose about where this is going.
He's the town doctor / coroner. He's like, this guy just knows medicine. I don't know. We have one guy in this town who knows how the body works. So he comes and examines every dead body. So Sam's going to call the FBI and say, "Hey, what happened with Jack Frost?" Because he knows the Jack Frost paddy wagon was in an accident, but nobody ever told him the outcome of it, which is great. And he calls this guy at the FBI, and this guy at the FBI is super shady.
Super shady.
This FBI guy doesn't seem right. Like, this is going to be a plot point here.
Also rocks a turtleneck. So, and like you said, Sam needing therapy, having PTSD, he saved Jack Frost's ransom notes, but they're not ransom notes. They're just dressed in typical ransom note fashion with cut out letters from magazines. But why did he do that? It's not like he's trying to hide his identity. We know it's Jack Frost.
He signed his name and cut out magazine letters. what was he in prison going like, send this to Sheriff Sam? They'd be like, no, dude, I'm not giving this to that. I'm not letting you threaten this guy. What are we talking about?
And then he's just like reading. He's like studying them at the dining room table, like as if there's clues in there. And it's like, no, it literally just says, "I'm going to get you." And it's like, are you trying to read into something? Why'd you save these? Why are you reading them? So weird. So I'm getting big scary movie vibes already.
Yeah.
But Jack, he's got to go ahead and murder this whole town. So this is going to kick off a whole string of murders in the movie. We're going to learn that his abilities include freezing and unfreezing at will. So not like the Michael Keaton Jack Frost. The melting was a big problem for him. So this Jack Frost can freeze and unfreeze in an instant, allowing him to Judgment Day slip through door cracks and windows and be a crafty son of a bitch. And 2, he can also shoot icicles out of his hand. So that's a problem.
He also has some wild super strength. And he can grow massive fangs, kind of goes to the icicles. So his fangs are icicles. And all phases of water. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you can't destroy water. Because even steam at a certain point, he does turn into steam and then condensates and comes back. So I'm like, you can't destroy matter. Like that is a law of physics. Like you cannot just destroy matter you can't just get, especially water. Water has 3 states and you can't get around that. But we'll find that out.
Back.
Yeah, but the FBI is going to get involved. And so this is Agent Manners. And he's also going to have a lackey with him, Dr. Stone. Now, we're going to find out later that Dr. Manners is not actually part of the FBI. He's a mercenary hired by this company that Dr. Stone works for. They're the ones who created this genetic material
I thought he was FBI because he was sitting in an office with the FBI insignia behind him.
He was, but at one point, Dr. Stone says, you call yourself a mercenary or something like that. They reference him as a mercenary for the company. So maybe he's ex-FBI who now works for this giant evil corporation. Yes, it's the 90s. Your bad guy has been created by like Evil Corp, like some random big company. So I don't know. It wasn't clear because if it was the FBI, they would have really had the choppers down and taken care of this. But this was just one guy. They're like, hey, some genetically mutated snowman's on the loose. You go by yourself, Agent Manners. Like, come on.
If I said the name Wally Weaver, would that ring a bell with you?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's who Rob LaBelle, who plays Stone. He plays Wally Weaver in Watchmen, the 2009 movie. So I didn't know if he was like a significant character, but that's him.
Is Wally Weaver the guy who is the pedophile who...
He's in like a bow tie. He looks like he could be a pedophile.
Well, there's a pedophile.
He's a research assistant for the interesting field experiment at Gila Flats Test Baits under Professor Milton Glass.
So he's Sarando, who was one of the scientists who made Dr. Manhattan in that movie. Very, very, very small part.
So he's typecast for making freaks of natures. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know.
Very much so.
Well, speaking of freaks of natures, we got to go ahead and get to our first murder. So the snowman's going to show up outside Sam's house, and little dumbass Ryan, who is the kid of Sam, who made those disgusting oats that look like mud in a bag. Or the mom comes home and says, hey, there's a nice snowman out there. Ryan's like, I didn't build that. And she's like, oh, okay, whatever. It needs a face. So Ryan's going to go out and throw a face on the snowman, give Jack his face. So did the mom buy 2 pieces of coal and some carrots just for this very reason? Seemed like she pulled up to the house and didn't know it was there.
Totally.
So the Billy, who is dickhead Jake's son, comes up, and typical bully crap. We saw this in 98 Jack Frost. There's always a bully who's picking on people.
For no reason.
For no fucking
reason. Walks up to this kid. This kid's on his property building a snowman. He's like, hey, stay out of my way, twerp. You're like, dude, what are you talking about?
Well, he says you're in the middle of a sled route. And then he literally says, this is my dad's front lawn. And it's like, beat it, kid. So Billy actually takes his sled and decapitates Jack Frost the Snowman. So Jack Frost the Snowman's going to make this opportunity to bitch slap Billy, make him fall down. And one of his friends, I don't know how this physically works, but one of his friends with probably no more weight than 110 pounds and a sled that could not run over Billy's head, but somehow just clean slices, decapitates Billy. His head goes flying, a la Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And we have our first murder that we've witnessed. And everybody thinks Ryan did it. And Jake is yelling at Sam saying, your kid killed my kid. And Sam saying, my kid is 2 feet smaller than your kid. He definitely can't do that. And someone in the background says, not anymore, he's not, which was a really good joke.
That's a good one.
So Jake is yelling at his wife saying, like, stop telling me to calm down.
Can you please stop telling me to calm down? Shut up!
So Jake is raging, and Ryan's being accused of murder, and he keeps saying, it was the snowman, it was the snowman.
Which, to be fair, for the townsfolk, I'd be like, this kid's insane. He may have done it. If he's blaming the snowman, he may have murdered this kid. I don't know. But it is funny that this sled with no weight on it, just clean. I guess the sharpest sled
or clearance to go over someone's clearance. Neck.
Yeah, it would just kind of hit you in the temple. You'd be like, ah, shit, that kind of hurt.
You should probably charge his friend actually that didn't stop, and he's the one who actually did it. So. But Nick, I'm going to set up the next murder here, and then I would love for you to describe it.
Yeah.
Jack Frost is main ops, which apparently is this entire family.
He's not a fan.
The Metzners. So Jake Metzner, he's the douchey guy who was very serious about the snowman building competition. He was bitching at Sam and saying Ryan's a murderer because Billy's dead. No one really cares that Billy's dead. Well, Jake actually does. Because Sally, his wife, is saying, don't you want to light up the Christmas tree or don't you want to do some festivities? And Jake's like, our fucking son just died today. Like, what are you talking about, Sally? So maybe I understand his rage. But
if my son died, yeah, I'd be inconsolable. He's actually pretty measured for the situation. And his wife she might just be on like Xanax at this. Like that the coroner doctor might just have her on a prescription of Xanax because she does not seem concerned in the least. She looks at the sheriff's
He's
like,
the pharmacist.
Sorry, he's usually never like this. It's like, your son just died, woman. Like, you should be hysterical. Hysterical. And she's just like, I'm sorry.
I don't know who made each other like what. I don't know if Jake made his family like this or his family made him like that. But Jill's going to go out and meet up with Tommy, and Jake grabs Jill by the arms and shakes her and screams in her face saying like, where are you going looking like a lady of the night? And she's literally in a cardigan and jeans.
Hey! And where in God's name you think you're prowling off to like some lady of the night? You may not have cared for your little brother.
Jesus, Dad, I loved Billy.
Do not be forsaking the Lord's name in my house, little girl!
Like, this guy is unhinged.
1997 in the Midwest, dude. Cardigan and jeans is you're asking for it, apparently.
He is asking for it because what happens to him, Nick?
So Jack Frost. So we think Jack Frost is coming after Sam, the sheriff, who put him away. Right? That would make the most sense. That's what revenge is all about, right? No, this family has got on his radar for I don't know the reason why. The family's falling apart. Jill leaves the house. Jake's like, you're not going to sit here and mourn your brother. And she's like, I loved him too, but I'm going to go see Billy. And like,
Tommy.
I don't know. It's all the same. Billy's dead. I'm going to go see Tommy. Billy died. It's a weird family dynamic for sure. And
not good.
Now all of a sudden, Jake's going to hear things outside of his house, and he's going to come out. He thinks it's Sam coming to apologize. He's running out of his house. He grabs an axe. Like, where are you? Who are you? And there's just a snowman in his front yard. Now, I would be confused if I didn't build that snowman and it was in my front yard. I'd be very suspect of the snowman in my front yard, especially if it wasn't there when I drove home that night and then I came outside and there's a snowman. But, you know, this town folks isn't suspecting a killer snowman. How could they be? Right? So I'll give him a pass. But Jack Frost, the snowman,
idea. I'm putting bourbon in my hot chocolate mug.
It's the best idea in the world, my friend.
It's the last episode, everybody. Going crazy.
So we're hearing Jack Frost's voice, and Jake goes, where are you? And then Jack Frost grabs his He grabs the axe. Now, me, a rational human being, thinks he's going to bury the axe head into this guy's skull, cut his head clean off. Nah, dude. He jams the axe handle 3 feet down Jake's throat. Like, imagine having an axe in your hand and killing a man with the blunt end of it. That is savage. That one shocked me.
But it was weird because Jake lays down on the ground and the axe is sticking up, but it looks like it got broken in half because it's sticking straight up, unless it's like bent in down his esophagus and the head is sticking straight up. But yeah,
I think that's what happened.
All right. Tough way to go. What's going to be even tougher is Sally's next. So Nick, you had a topic. You had a topic to bring up, and I have a prediction. You said, what was your favorite death? I have a suspicion it was this one because this was my favorite death.
Absolutely. So Sally, poor Sally. So the definition of Midwest nice, right? She has not hurt a soul in her life. She is trying to be a good mother, a good wife. She is just, if you knew her in real life, you'd go like, oh, salt of the earth woman. We'll cook for you at any, hour of the night kind of thing. Well, she notices this water in her house, and we already have established that Jack Frost can melt and then reform as a snowman.
We know that watching the movie, but they actually learn that here after this scene.
Well, we're finding it out right now.
It is
because
suspicious.
Poor Sally is she backs up into the snowman. Our boy Jack Frost takes all of the Christmas lights, strangles her around the neck, takes the glass ornaments, sticks it in her mouth like a ball gag or an apple in a luau pig, makes her crunch down on it, grabs her head, puts it down into the box of glass ball ornaments, scrapes it around, pulls it out. Her face is shattered. Jack Frost has not had enough of this, puts it back down into the glass ornaments, does it again, pulls her out, continues the strangling. Dude,
the dummy, the use of the dummy head and the visual of that, and just the whoever had the snowman's hand and the dummy in their hand and just going to town on the ornaments made me laugh so hard. That made me laugh so hard. And it just looked like it was like so cartoonish.
Like, imagine you're trying to get out the worst stain on your floor and you have the roughest end of a sponge and you're going to town trying to get it out. That's what this snowman hand did to this face in a box of glass ornaments.
That, but going into a box of ornaments. Yeah, so Sally gets strangled by string lights, or as I like to say, stringled. So Sally's dead. He does tie her to a Christmas tree. And Paul, the store owner, he's like delivering salt to everybody for the snow. And he's going to discover Sally's dead.
Paul.
Yeah, he starts running around crazy. He runs away from the house hysterical. He tries to warn the town that there was a snowman there that was evil and doing this. And he says, and he starts actually punching out all the snowman competition builds.
That's what I would do.
And then so the shady FBI guy, Agent Manners, he punches out Paul, and there's this hilarious punch, just whoosh, sound effect, and like a stock audio crowd gasp, like, "Oh,
Fucker's a snowman! Fucker's a snowman! Oh, a snowman! What are you talking about? No, you don't understand.
Paul gets punched out and then booked in jail. This is reminding me of when What's His Nuts and Killer Clowns got hauled away to jail for lack of evidence. Paul's getting hauled away to jail for trying to warn the fucking town.
Fuck you. You're getting locked up.
Crazy old Maurice.
From what we know in this town's only like 30 people. Like, I don't know. You can't just throw dudes in jail like that. I guess you can.
Big Pawnee energy. You know, everybody knows everybody. They were doing their cries at the police station.
He's the Jerry.
When they had that first.
He's the Jerry of Pawnee.
Jack's not finished with the Metzners because he's got to get to Jill. And unfortunately, Tommy is going down with Jill. So they want to bang in Sam's house when he's not there. Don't know why.
Dude, that is the freakiest thing. They're like, we're going to the sheriff's house to have sex in his abandoned house. What?
Yeah.
This whore in her jeans and cardigan, man. I'm telling you.
If you want me, I want a roaring log fire,
And a bottle of wine. Come and get me when you're ready.
And then so Tommy's like bonering out in the kitchen, like so excited. Jack is going to go ahead and slip through the crack. He's going to do the Jack crack under the door. And this is when we learn he can shoot icicles from his hand.
Well, he makes his way into the freezer.
Is he in the freezer? I thought Tommy just got some ice. Or does he? Maybe the vapor. I don't know. I don't know where Jack is.
He got some ice from the freezer, and there's a carrot sticking out from the ice in the freezer. And I was like, oh, man.
How's the carrot get through the cracks?
Don't ask questions, bro.
I am asking. How's the coal and the carrots get through the? That's a plot. That nitpick.
Nitpicks.
That's my nitpick.
That's your. That's the plot.
Coals and carrots. How do coals and carrots get through the cracks? How's he reform? How's the scarf get through? This is bullshit.
Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah,
this movie's bullshit. Tommy's going to go ahead and get stabbed through the heart, I believe, with an icicle. Get this great B movie just beating flesh in the door hole after the icicle gets yanked out from his head or his chest, whatever. And then poor Jill is upstairs getting ready with a blow dryer in her hair, a little foreshadowing of how you can possibly take this monster down. The bathtub is running. Or the bathtub is full. And we're going to come to learn that this is actually just Jack, just jacking around in there because he is the water in the bath. And Jill gets in. A carrot pops up to the top of the water. Again, didn't notice the carrot in there. This is the most out-of-pocket murder out of this whole goddamn movie because Jack is going to morph around Jill and kind of like trap her almost like she's in a cement mold. But the way they did the shot was actually pretty cool because he's like the water and then they start to like rise up out of the bathtub and they had to do this with a raised set and a scissor lift. Shannon Elizabeth was kind of like wrapped into the snowman, kind of like looking like she was entrapped and like inside of it. The death scene was written that she was going to have her head get banged against the wall via being trapped by Jack. But Nick, it looks like something totally different to the audience.
Not just does it look like something totally different. When Jack reforms, he doesn't have his carrot on, and we know the carrot was in the bathtub. So where's that carrot?
It
just says how much we were not cool with the tree scene in The Evil Dead. It's how I feel about this scene. I'm pretty sure Jack Frost raped Jill with a carrot. And that was weird.
Nick, I'm glad you brought this up because what if the director had a rebuttal for your rape accusations?
Hit me, Cooney.
Same website, the justinbeam.com, the Beamness. So talk about the carrot. Beam says, despite the lighthearted music and cuts, the bathtub scene with Shannon is pretty dark in concept and approach. Was there any hesitation from anyone involved on this scene? Cooney responds, it's funny you said in concept because it's written into the script that he freezes around her and then smacks her head against the wall until she's dead. That is how he kills her. We come to film it, and on the first take, the carrot smacks Shannon in the eye very nasty. So we take the carrot out and film it. In the editing room, people start asking, you know what that looks like, don't you? And I'm like, oh no. Now that you mention it, it was one of those things that we had to embrace. That's how it looked, and it was going to be difficult to sell it any other way. So in the voiceover, they added a line about, was it good for you? So they did lean into the sex aspect of it. And then he says, for my sensibilities, I'd like to defend that it is not a snowman rape scene. I've not a leg to stand on. I realize that, but I like to insist on that. There's no nudity, no boobs, or some of the other things you normally see in this type of movie. But that was one of those moments that was engineered backwards. Your response?
Nope. Sorry, Cooney, you British pervert. I'm sorry. You filmed a shot where a carrot comes up like in between her legs and she's like, oh, Tommy. And then, I mean, her getting into the bathtub scene is super sensual. He's like, it's not sexual at all. Like, we didn't have anything leading up to that. She takes her bra off. You know, you're shooting it from the back. You go down to her ass when she's in her panties and like you film it going all the way down. This was clearly a sexualized scene, Cooney. What the fuck are you talking about? Then you have the carrot there And then he says, oh, no. This wasn't a sexualized scene. Fuck you, Cooney. No, I'm sorry. You tried to get away with like, no, we'd never have rape in our movie. This ridiculous ass movie with the stupid snowman. And then the one chance you had to get a girl that wasn't in a sweater, you over-sexualized her in the bathtub. And you're like, nah, man, I don't have a leg to stand on here, but just trust me, bro. Fuck you, dude. Not a chance, dude. Not a chance. Not a chance. That was most definitely snowman rape. 110%. What are you talking about?
Either way you cut it, Nick, Jill gets death by banging.
Absolutely.
Get it? Because she got her head banged against the wall.
Banged against the wall, and also
by Carrot. But yeah, they did definitely confirm it, because in the credits, they have all these weird sentences in between the different departments, and one of the sentences says, "Where was the carrot in the bathtub scene?" It was up the hoo-ha. That's where it was.
Everybody probably mentioned it during the movie, like, hey, we know what's going on, and Cooney was like, nah, not at all, dude. Not at all, governor. So
all these murders are happening. One of the cops actually gets ran over to by Jack earlier in the movie. So now we're going to get to the showdown here, Nick. Now, what's going to go down? How do we defeat this thing?
So the way we're going to defeat this thing, the first thing we try is with hair dryers, and they're hitting them with hair dryers, and they realize that the hair dryer has a max distance of the cord. So they're like backing up with the cord. That doesn't work for Sam. So they're going to blow up the police station with aerosol. Dr. Stone doesn't want to kill.
Almost left Paul in there.
Dude, so close. When Sam went back to get the keys, like Paul reaches out from his cell and just goes, "Save me." He's like, "Oh shit."
It was on the third lap. It was on the third lap, because they got into the jail cell holding area. They went to the back window, and then Sam goes back to the door to get the window key, and then he goes back to the window, and then on the third trip, that's when Paul's like, I'm here. It's like, flag them down on the first lap.
He passed out because apparently they opened up so many aerosol cans to blow up the place that it flooded the entire place with like hairspray and cleaner. Like an entire 4,000 foot area got absolutely, like, to the point where people couldn't breathe.
Those aerosol cans kept coming. It was like they had 60 gallons rigged up to them underneath the floor or something.
Yeah. But they do get out. Everybody gets out. The building explodes, but you know what? Like I said before, you can't destroy water molecules. You just can't. That's just a law of physics.
Jack is back.
Jack's back. So I was very confused about this scene because he shows up and he's like a messed up body. The snowman's head's on his side. He's got a messed up leg. And I'm like, how does that work?
Oh, come on! I'm a Picasso!
He's like, hey, Ma, look, I'm Picasso. And yeah, it doesn't make sense because he reforms from water. So what made him reform as like a jumbled, kind of fucked up mess? Fun fact, they had to shoot this scene as a time lapse because the actor inside of it couldn't move very fast.
Shocked.
I'll be back when I pull myself together!
Yeah, so they have a new plan. They're gonna have to force him into the furnace in the basement of like the church / recreation area. So they do that, but again, he survives because he just goes into steam and then condensates, and then he comes over to the FBI guy, Agent Manners, and he does this great scene where he looks at him, unplugs the hairdryer, grows these icicle fangs, and just goes, blow me.
Blow me.
Bites his head, not off, but really kind of fucks up his face.
He just bites his face.
Then he goes back into water, and then he body snatches Dr. Stone, the science guy.
So this was kind of like Jumbo the Clown from Killer Clowns. This was like a new level of fucked upness because he melted inside of the science guy and then kind of puppeteered him to walk outside, and then is puked out of Stone via projectile vomit, and his neck gets all bulbousy like the Thing, as if he's like about to just like blob out and explode. And then he says, "Don't eat yellow snow." So one of his many little zingers and one-liners of this movie.
There's a lot of one-liners in this movie.
After he banged Jill, he's like, "Ha ha ha, looks like Christmas came early." It's like,
again, confirming the rape scene.
So he's gonna water slick his way into Sam's patrol car, and Sam and Ryan, his little kid, they're in it and they're like struggling to get out. It's like, just get out of the car and run away. It's a snowman. How fast can it be? So Sam is gonna Sam's gonna jam Ryan's oats into Jack's head, and Jack starts screaming in pain. This is when we're all thinking, oh, the oats, they are special. So they were in a Ziploc bag, so the contents of the oats shouldn't have touched Jack. That's another nitpick. It's my second nitpick, actually. Nitpicks.
Oh, just two.
Well, logistical things are my nitpicks. Shocker. So fucking Sam says, Ryan, what did you put in my oats? And so, Nick, I thought it was going to be salt, because Paul kept delivering salt to the houses. I was like, oh, the kid probably just like over salted the oats. And we're like, oh, it's salt. Salt melts snow. Maybe that's how you defeat this thing. No. Ryan apparently put fucking antifreeze in the oats.
He almost killed his dad.
If you don't know what antifreeze is, it's a chemical liquid that you pour into a combustible engine so that it doesn't overheat through the radiators. Yeah, so that keeps your engine cool. Should not ingest it. But fucking Ryan,
you should go to if you even get a sip of antifreeze, you should go to the hospital. First, you should try and stick your fingers down your throat and vomit out everything in your body, and then you should go directly to a hospital if you drink antifreeze. It is not okay to drink antifreeze. And this kid put it in his dad's oats. He's like, I didn't want you to get cold, Dad. This kid almost murdered his father.
What a fucking dumbass. So antifreeze. I don't know if this has any conflicting effects on water or ice or whatever. I'm sure they didn't do the science and do the fact checks, but that's what we're going with this movie. We're going with antifreeze.
It's just a liquid that doesn't freeze, so when it runs through your engine, it keeps it cool. Yes, it is. It cannot freeze itself. It's not the antifreeze. It doesn't it won't contact ice and be like, stop, ice. Go back to a liquid.
If anything, it actually helps the cold because it's supposed to keep the radiator cool and your engine cool.
Yes, absolutely. It just keeps things cooler. It lowers the boiling point. Which is why it's regularly referred to as coolant, but it's also called antifreeze. Fast forward, he's going to send Paul to his store to get all the antifreeze. Because Paul has a store that has antifreeze. Also, real quick, Paul is a hero because he owns the store that sells antifreeze, guns, and ammunition. And when he thinks there's a serial killer on the loose, he looks at the town and goes, come to my store, 50% off ammo. I'm just like, all right, you fucking American hero. He's like 20% off of ammo in case it's an emergency. He's like offering to keep the store open for 24 hours. Just give everyone ammo for their guns. I'm just like, Paul. Yeah. Fucking G. So Paul, the G, goes to his store and gets all the antifreeze. And for some reason, all of the jugs of antifreeze are in a display case in a window that is facing the street, as if it's like a shiny new bike or a Christmas tree. And he has to punch through a cardboard backing to access all the antifreeze. And I'm like, isn't this something you just want readily accessible on a shelf for your customers? Nah, this is what you want to show the public. I have antifreeze. Why is it in a display case on the street? It's so weird. So he rips through the cardboard and then starts pouring it in the back of his truck. And meanwhile, Sam is going to be doing a final battle with Jack in the second story building. It's like the main building, the rec center. I don't know. It's just the main town building. Sam is going to go ahead and get stabbed with an icicle, but then he's going to go ahead and charge Jack out of a second story window because he hears Paul roll up. It's a lot of trust that Paul's going to put that truck exactly outside of that window. Yeah. But no, I would never doubt Paul for a second. No, Paul's a goat. Sam straight dive bombs Jack out of the window, lands straight into the bed of the truck, and he's punching Jack just in this. It just looks like it's a pool of green colored water. Well, real quick, where he hit him with the antifreeze oats earlier, Jack's head is kind of concave, and you see like blood and brains. I'm very confused. Is this person conscious? Does he have a human anatomy inside of that snow? He's like bleeding with brains showing.
Yeah, there's like pumping organs and yeah. I'm with you.
I'm so confused.
So it appears that Jack has been defeated, and then Ryan, the stupid kid that put fucking antifreeze in his dad's oats, says, "Dad, you forgot this arm," because the arm popped off in the middle of the fall. And then, like a Burmese python, Jack's arm just wraps around Ryan's head and squeezes him. Woo, woo. And they're like, "Ah!" And then so Sam has to like baptize his kid in the coolant water in the truck and melt the arm off like cotton candy in water. It's just gone.
Dude, I'm so confused because Sam got pierced with that icicle and now he's in antifreeze. He has so much antifreeze that has come in contact with open wounds.
Nick,
at this point.
Apparently he was about to eat it. Maybe Ryan's been feeding him antifreeze little by little for years and he's built up a tolerance. So it seems like Jack has been defeated. They do a family hug. The priest, oddly enough, insists that he should also be in on the family hug. Thought that was weird. The citizens,
that priest likes Ryan a little too much.
I was going to make a joke, but I'm glad you went there instead of me.
I always will.
So the citizens of Snowmanton are going to go ahead and pollute the earth by burying dozens of these bottles of antifreeze in the ground. The cavalry, the FBI, start showing up and they say, "What do we say?" And Sam says, "Tell them it's too late." And then we end on one bottle that starts bubbling as if Jack's going to return. And we get an electric guitar of the Sugar Plum Fairy dance. And then we hit credits.
The end?
No, because there's Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Snowman. That is Jack Frost from 1997, supposedly supposed to be 1996 or 95, but it got absorbed by a bank and then re-released
absorbed
straight to video.
Like the snow in Jack Frost.
So this is where we usually go over talking points. Nothing to talk about with this movie. It is just it's a campy horror Christmas movie. We hit everything we wanted to hit in the plot talk. So, Nick, why don't we go ahead and just fast forward to our award section? It's going to be our mini pops. And we're going to decipher the last time for the year, the best weapon, the best fighter, the best person in this movie, and the biggest piece of shit in this movie. Starting out.
Fucking do it.
With the best weapon, what did you bring to the table?
It's Jack Frost icicles, man. Those things, when he could shoot them out of his hands, I thought that was a game changer. Because if he was doing that to everybody, he played around with Sam, the sheriff. This should have been a no contest. He just got cocky, like serial killers do, and get caught. But he should have been able to literally take over the world with those icicle shots. That was vicious.
There was lots of selections. There was sled. There was cars. Icicles, sex,
antifreeze oats.
Well, speaking of, Nick, my nomination was going to be antifreeze because there's a lot of weapons that took down a lot of humans, but I think the most dangerous man in this was the snowman. So I thought, what's the best weapon? The one that injures Sam and kills Tommy, or the weapon that ultimately brings down the biggest threat to Snowmanton? And I'll tell you what, Nick.
Ultimately bring it down.
We won't know until we watch Jack Frost 2, but here was my thought, Nick. I'm doing a little bit seeing into the future, trying to be a clairvoyant. For our end of the year episode, we have best fighters, we have best weapons. We also will have a Mortal Kombat style tournament with the best fighters. So I thought, what the hell will bring down Jack Frost? And it appears that antifreeze is the best shot. So my thought was, I hope the Wheel of Fortune lands on antifreeze with whatever poor son of a bitch has to fight Jack Frost. Because spoilers, that's my nomination for best fighter.
Fuck it, antifreeze.
Antifreeze! Someone's got to bring down Jack Frost. Please. We don't want him to win. But he is
That
my
brings
best
us to
fighter.
our best fighter. Yeah, I
He
mean,
is my best fighter.
Bar none.
Super overpowered.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
James, who's your most valuable character of this movie? I had Paul.
Paul. This is our second Paul that's been MVC because it follows.
Yeah.
Paul was also our MVC.
Yeah. And now, James, your biggest piece of shit for this movie. Now, I went with Jack Frost because he legitimately is just an evil dude, but I feel like people like Jake could.
Now, I know we have a serial killer in this movie, but Jake was a hard sell for me in the beginning. He was just unabashedly, unnecessarily a giant dick to his family and to the townspeople.
I mean, unnecessarily, his son died.
But before that, before his son died, he was also just a dick to his wife, to his daughter, to the townspeople. I don't like Jake. I don't like Jake at all. So that was my vote.
So it's between Jack Frost and Jake Meltzer.
No, we know it's Jack Frost.
He's the biggest piece of shit in this movie. All right, James, let's wrap this up before we get to our final review. I need you to give me a sarcastic selling point here.
It kind of just sells itself, but it's just, it's a killer pervy snowman.
Murder snowman.
Not okay snowman.
Final review. Fight.
Final review time. Let's get into what the other guys are saying about this movie, and then we'll get into what we think about it. We're going to go ahead and start out with Rotten Tomatoes. The critics, 16% of the critics thought that this was a good movie. That is a tomato splat.
Yikes. And it's a little, it's double. You know, double. The people doubled that. Just a little bit less. The people have it at 31%.
And we're going to move over to Metacritic. The critics didn't show up. I have no scores for this.
Well, shocker, James, because the people did not show up either.
No one showed up for it, but we did.
And now for our cold-blooded, ornament-studded, icicle-gutted,
hitting you with a carrot right up the hoo-ha score from IMDb, a 4.7. Oh, man. This is a flop, Nick. I didn't even realize that, but
it's floppy.
This is a flop. So this
floppy.
Actually deserves
Unlike that carrot,
flop.
This is floppy.
Don't. So this deserves our flop buster treatment, where we need to determine if this did deserve to be a flop with our scores. So I think we need to give it at least a 5.5 or something like that. But we'll see if it hits that mark. Nick, you're going to start out with the first part of Just Play It's review of 1997's Jack Frost. Can you hit me with a laughable log line, some popcorn points, and your final thoughts?
I can do that. So my laughable log line here is snowman alive, snowman kill. And this is a 1.8 from me. So 1.8, this is the exact same score I gave Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and I think this falls into the exact same category as Killer Clowns from Outer Space. There's not a lot to this movie. There's not a lot to break down. There's not a lot of world building or setup. There's just, here's what it is. We're throwing it at you. This is a quote-unquote horror-y movie with a lot of comedic elements that are baked into it. And that's the case with this movie. It'll make you laugh. It'll really make you laugh. I was laughing out loud at some of the parts of this movie. So it did do a great part in that. I highly recommend watching this once. This might be a guilty pleasure movie of mine. I have a hard time giving it a 1.8 because I laughed harder at this than some of the comedies I've watched and some of the other movies I've watched this season even. But, you know, I have to try and be consistent with how it is as a movie, right? Character development, storyline, yada, yada, yada. It's not a good movie from, you know, all of those aspects, but I do recommend watching it once. I'm surprised this movie hasn't hit cult classic status because this seems right up the cult classic alley for this movie. There might be a niche out there on the internet or some Reddit community that's super into it, but this was funny. It was interesting in a way. It was terribly done. The acting was awful. The CGI was awful. The storyline was awful. But Did it keep me entertained? Did it pass the looking down at my cell phone test? It did, because I wanted to see what the next murder was going to be. So it was so stupid, it was good. And but it's a 1.8 on the actual popcorn meter for me. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had a really good time watching this one.
Understandably so. So I would have to rate this pretty high for us to bust this flop myth. But we'll see if that happens, because my laughable log line for 97's Jack Frost is: Jack Frost is the worst human alive, and he's about to become the worst snowman alive, as he attempts to murder an entire small town in the most impractical ways. Spoilers: a dumbass kid puts antifreeze in his dad's oats, and that ends up being the kryptonite for good old Jack-Off Frost. Nick, I haven't dealt out the so bad it's good score all year, all season, so it's going to get that 3.69. Damn, it's fine. It was so bad, it was good. Now, I had a similar thought process to you. I almost gave it the same exact score as Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This movie gets the benefit of it being my first watch of this movie, whereas I've seen Killer Clowns before, so I kind of knew all the silly stuff to look out for. But I think for this movie, it's not good. It's not supposed to be serious. It's not scary. It's really just a B movie, comedy horror. Its comedy is in the categorized genre for Jack Frost 97. So it is a very watchable movie. Kept me super entertained. I was laughing a lot while watching this movie. Yeah. So I think for the low budget and the schlocky execution and concept and questionable things in this movie, it did keep my eyes glued to the screen, and I did laugh plenty of times. This movie is not telling a story in any way, shape, or form. I thought the acting was actually pretty good for what it is. I think everybody leaned into the campiness and the goofiness. We're not seeing any Oscar-worthy performances, but this is, I would recommend this. I was hesitant to put this on when we kind of made the on-the-fly decision to watch this. My wife was super disappointed in us, and she said, "What? No." My
wife asked me, why aren't you watching The Holiday with Jack Black?
Because we're watching Jack Frost with Jack Frost. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she was disappointed, and I was second guessing myself. I was like, should we watch something else? Nope. I'm glad we watched this. It was immensely entertaining. So I am going to give it that 3.69 score. That is the official so bad it's good score from Just Play It, which I think is going to even out to somewhere in the twos for us, which is honestly just a good old resting place for this movie. So that's going to average out to an empty bag, meaning the popcorn machine is out of order. So if you're looking for a real movie, if you're looking for substance, do not look here. If you're looking for some good old cheap laughs, look here, because they had a lot of good one-liners, a lot of funny, stupid effects, like the murders. The murders were just so
the murders themselves
comical. Like
so
the way
good.
They were shot, because the snowman they spent $50,000 on, they couldn't move around in it too fast. So a lot of the murders is like close-ups of, there was a lot of like zooming in and out of Jack's face in the Sally murder scene, and just arms just flying across the camera, just waving string lights and axes. My favorite one-liner was when someone said, "Who are you?" And then he said, "I'm the world's most pissed off snow cone." It's like, okay, yeah, they're just
here we are.
They don't care. When the bank owned this movie, they just said, "Fucking let everything fly." And you know what? I can laugh at something like that every once in a while. So, and that's gonna do it for our Christmas episode and our last movie review of the year. Holy smokes, I can't believe it. Nick with the Santa Dab ugly sweater. I'm sitting here with my hot chocolate, just having a good old time. So we appreciate everybody for listening. Thank you for watching us on YouTube if you're catching us there. And we definitely invite you to join us next time when we hit up our wrap party. Part 1. Lot of award nominations, big quiz episode. We're going to reflect on the year, kind of give some insights and give our commentary of the best and surprises and disappointments of the year and talk about just everything. It's just going to be a celebration of the whole year. And if you've been listening along, then you're going to enjoy it. So for now, we are heading gone. And remember, if you got some bad water leaks in your house, you better make sure you got some antifreeze in the house. Not salt, not heat, antifreeze. Because they wouldn't put the word anti in front of freeze if it didn't fight the freeze. So, duh. That's what Ryan's thinking. Stupid fucking kid. Where's that carrot?
Not a chance. That was most definitely Snowman Rape.
What a fucking dumbass.